What is going on, guys, and how are we doing? We are back. It's Monday, and we are flying into the day. We're flying into the week, and I suppose this episode today is to get you more understanding on what's going on in your life, where you may be lacking, where you may be doing extremely well. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for jumping on and listening to this. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this podcast, wherever it's on, whatever channel you're on. Make sure you subscribe to it and support what we're doing here. So it's Monday. Hope you've all had a great weekend. I had an interesting weekend. We played rugby on the weekend, and if you can see on my camera, if you just listen to audio, I've got a nice split on my nose. We had a rugby final for my hometown team, and let's just say the team we played against, they like to play it rough. And first tackle of the game, guy came in with a flying arm, punched me, hit me, and split my nose. So I love it. But the best thing about it was after the game, it's maybe this old school camaraderie about rugby. You laugh about it at the end of the game. You have a chat with the guy, no hard feelings, you move on, and you say take care. So that's what sport's all about, isn't it? Get beat up and then be mates. Anyway, this episode today is about self-doubt and really backing yourself. So again, I've got 10 questions here, which are, I'm going to answer them, and hopefully it's going to enlighten you in some forms of your life and maybe make you realize where you are doubting yourself, or where you are not backing yourself enough, or where you should be to get you to that next level, and where maybe your upper limit is, where you are out of alignment, where you are struggling to get over that roadblock that's in the back of your mind, in the subconscious, where all the programming is. So today we're really going to talk about that. So question 1 out of 10 questions, the question is, when was the last time you held back because you worried about what someone else would think, and what did that cost you? I think when I think of that, I think it probably held me back on more the delay on when to do it. I think I'm doing everything I wanted to do, but it delayed me in doing it at stages. Whether that was my business or whether that was my business or whether it was in sports, for sure. I think when I think about this one, maybe when I went to Australia, that's the first thing that's come to my head now when I really sit with it. When I was in Australia, I feel like I held back on my potential and really didn't give my full skill set to the sport because of fear of making a mistake. And I think that played a massive factor in it, or fear of being dropped or not selected the following week. So that really impacted me enough to probably feel like I didn't give my full skill set to the sport or to the game for what I could have done potentially. That's what comes to my head when I think of that question. And it was probably the impact of trying to prove to coaches, probably trying to prove to other people, but really come down to proving to myself that I was good enough. So that's what it cost me. Probably not giving my full on some games. That's where it sits with me when I think about that question anyway, in particular in sports, because if you are in a high level of sports, and anyone has ever experienced it, maybe semi-professional or even professional, there's pressure all the time. You're around people who are good, if not better. The baseline of standards is a lot higher. It's a lot more professional. So you're always on. You cannot switch off. Well, I couldn't anyway. And you really, because if you care a lot, you feel a lot, and then that's where you spiral into that area. So if you make mistakes, it really delves into it, and you can really overcome that. And if you've listened to some of my previous episodes or worked with me as a client, you'll know all about the skills and overcoming this area. So next question, what's the root of self-doubt for most people, and where did it show up for you personally? Self-doubt. Well, I think I covered it in the first question regarding, where did it show up for me, was doubting myself in that area. I think self-doubt will crop up whenever you do something new. Whenever you start to do something new, and that's why it comes into that imposter syndrome, of I feel like I shouldn't be here right now. I feel like I shouldn't be doing this right now. Imposter syndrome is essentially you doing something new for the first time and it overwhelming you, feel like you're out of place, you're not comfortable or confident in that area. Well, of course you're not going to be confident or comfortable in that area just yet, but it's like training the muscle. The more and more you train the muscle, the more and more you do it, the muscle gets bigger, it gets stronger. That's a bit like your confidence, and that self-doubt will decrease. So that's why I feel like it really impacts people. And, so whenever you start something new, that's when self-doubt will creep in. But it's whether you're okay in leaning into that. I think I've got a really good blessing, and something I'm really grateful for is I feel like I don't think too much about it at the time. So when it happens, I'll be like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go. And then when the ball rolls, that's when I'll be like, oh, crap, we're in the deep end now. And then let's go in. Okay, well, I'm here now. We better keep going. I don't want to fail. I'm not going to fail. And I have this, I have this belief, and I've had it instilled in me from sports, I believe, from growing up, of, making things work regardless of adversities, regardless of not being told you're not going to. I just love proving to myself, and I know I have this skill set of achieving it, and it gives me this underlying strength to keep going. So self-doubt will creep in for a lot of people. Going back to the question, self-doubt will creep in for a lot of people at the start, doing something new. Maybe this is a new career, maybe dating someone new, maybe starting to go to the gym for the first time. Maybe that's the area, but that's where it'll really rock up for most people. Question 3. Why do we often give more power to other people's opinion than our own inner voice? I think a lot of people, especially when they're in maybe a new environment, or maybe they're going to do something, is you trust other people's opinion because you're not fully sure yourself, but realistically that person's in the same position as you. And normally when it happens and you follow through with that person's opinion, you get there, you're like, I knew I should have trusted myself. I knew I should have trusted my own voice. And I think it's moving too quick sometimes. We move too quick, and we just go with the first instinct of the first thought that comes into our mind. And sometimes it's the second thought that we should listen to. It's not that impulsive thought, it's a second thought, and then letting it sit and listening to our internal area. Where is that in our body right now? What are we feeling? Does that feel right? And 9 times out of 10, your body will tell you, your intuition, your gut will tell you a lot of things. And listening to that, I wish I knew that at a younger age, was listening to the gut more will lead you down a path of less pain. But then if you don't follow your gut, I see the spin-off of that is you learn a lot about yourself, and you learn a lot of experiences on the journey. So there's all pros and cons to either side, but I believe the reason why we listen to other people's opinions before our own is because sometimes people lack that confidence in themselves. They lack that belief system in themselves, and it comes down to low self-esteem, low confidence. But sometimes listening to other people, sitting back and sitting with that, whatever it is, and listening internally to yourself, feeling whatever you're feeling, and feeling a direction from that will take you down that area. How do you build confidence when you've been second guessing yourself for a long time? Well, first of all, is environment. Get in the right environment. Nothing changes if you don't change. So get into the right environment of people who are on that journey. They're in that area of uplifting everyone. They're very positive. They're very supportive. They want you to do things. They want you to be around people. And at the start, you're going to feel this overwhelmed feeling because they're supporting you on this journey. But if you realize they want the best for you, you will go far. You will take that opportunity. And when it comes to confidence, it's not looking at the long game. It's about seeing the short things on the way. For instance, and it just came to my head then, we had Run Club last Thursday, and we had this lady there. She came, she was new. She was older than a majority there. But, she wanted to just sit in the back and watch everyone kick on. And she said, I'll find my way there. I said, no chance. I'm going to stay there with you. I'm going to go with you the whole duration of this 5K. Don't care where everyone else goes. I'm going to stay here with you. And we'd get so far, 1K, 2K. And that little voice in her head was telling her to stop. And I was just thinking, no, don't you dare stop. You can keep running. And by the time then she carried on jogging. I was like, slow your pace down, just keep jogging. And then we got to the last run, maybe of 500 meters or a K left to the end. And instead of looking at the long, we've got 500 meters or a K left, I just said, look at that car by there. Run to that car. I'll see that post box. Let's run to that post box. And breaking it down and getting to these smaller destinations, which is aligned to the end goal, is going to build confidence because it's not overwhelming you anymore. It's like, yeah, I can achieve that. That's there. I can do that. Okay, keep going. Then keep going. And the more and more you do that, the more and more you start to build confidence. You start to really stop second guessing yourself on what you can't do and realizing what you can achieve if you push yourself. Hope that answers that question. Question 5. Client reflection. One of my clients realized she was constantly chasing external approval, extension. Oh, okay, cool. Question 5 is client reflection. So one of my clients realized she was constantly chasing external approval, especially in relationships. It was draining her. Once she started backing herself and understanding her own values, everything changed. Now, I think we discussed this on the last episode last week, but understanding what your values are is massive. Massive. It's a bit like, maybe if you went on a dating app and you wrote in the bio, what you're looking for. Not the bio, sorry, what are you looking for? You might be looking for a long-term relationship, but you keep chasing people who are unavailable, or you like going on adventures, but you keep chasing people who love nights out. Or you don't like smoking or drinking, but you chase people, you match with people who love partying and love taking drugs and drinking on the weekend. Well, if you're not clear on what you want, you are essentially setting yourself up for not what you expect or what you want, and if you're providing that. So when you think of that, when I ask you this question, the listeners, what areas of your life are you chasing approval instead of standing in your truth? When you stand in your truth, you're going to be more accepted by people that align with you. And when you don't stand in your truth, you're going to chase acceptance from people that you truly don't want acceptance from. You don't really want it. You're just trying to chase their approval. When you get more comfortable with yourself, so that is doing things that you truly want to do and being okay with that, and that's having awareness to your behaviors, your triggers, your urges, and then understanding where that comes from, why you're doing it, you start to calm your nervous system down. You start to realize where these triggers are coming from. You start to then get more clear on what you want. Instead of chasing approval, you're seeing this internal confidence from yourself that oozes outwards. And people want that. People want to be aligned with that. People want to feel that. People want to experience that. Question 6. What's the difference between healthy self-reflection and toxic overthinking? Geez, some questions here, guys. What's the difference between healthy self-reflection and toxic overthinking? So I think healthy self-reflection is, people say, oh, you're so hard on yourself all the time. But I think it's sometimes understanding, okay, where you are procrastinating a bit. You are cutting corners at the moment. You are skipping the gym. You are hitting the snooze too often. Well, sitting there and going, okay, what am I doing right now which is not making me a better version of myself? What am I doing right now which I'm letting slide, which I shouldn't? That's healthy self-reflection. What is my current situation? In an ideal scenario, what do I want? And how can I do that? The right questions provide the right answers. Now, I think when it comes down to toxic overthinking, maybe that's trying, being in rooms and environments maybe where you may be gossiping about certain people, and then you may be walking away from that thinking, geez, I shouldn't have done that. Nah, that's not even the answer there. That's not even good. Maybe it's down to toxic overthinking when I think of this. Maybe never being content. Not maybe. It's never being content. The more I think about that now, it's Toxic overthinking is never being content. Maybe it is you've trained really hard and you've tweaked your diet, and then you've noticed some improvements and people have complimented you on them. But then you look in the mirror and you're like, nah, I'm not happy with this. If I just tighten up this area, if I looked a little bit better here, if I did this, if I did that, that's toxic overthinking. Of realizing how far, instead of just realizing how far you've come on this journey. I think that's not a healthy place to be, but understanding the first part between healthy self-reflection, what am I currently doing? What am I sliding at? What am I not respecting myself on doing? What's my current situation? In an ideal scenario, what do I want? And what can I do to get there? That's healthy. That's healthy for me personally anyway. Number 7, how do you define backing yourself? And how has that changed your path? Is the question that might catch my eyes. How do you define backing yourself, and how has that changed your path? Backing myself, that's a good one. When I started coaching 5 years ago, mindset coaching, when I fully backed myself, quit my job, I had a house, I had a mortgage. I hated my current job I was doing. It was making me feel stuck. It was making me feel unhappy. I was probably sitting at a 50% of who I could be. I felt like I just wasn't living. I was just surviving. And that was tough, that was a tough area. So I think backing myself to go, you know what? Who cares? Who cares if this don't work out? Who cares if this doesn't work out? I'm going to do this. I'm going to give this a red hot go. And I don't care what anyone thinks about it. I'm going to do this. That was a massive catalyst, because it was never like this journey of sports. This was a whole different area. But I just had this deep desire to do it. I just loved helping people. I just loved giving people the tools, the keys to achieve what they truly want and unlock these areas of their life and their mind of, limiting beliefs, not good enough, worrying about what others may think, lacking confidence, self-esteem, really sabotaging any opportunity of growth in themselves and realizing they had the keys to unlock that in themselves. Once I backed myself in that career, everything changed. Everything changed. I believe when you start to do things from a purposeful area in your life, when you know this is aligned with me and this brings out the best version of me, you get rid of all the bullshit in your life. Everything minor doesn't care anymore. I haven't got time for that. I am on this trajectory and you are not going to stop me, because this is an alignment with who I am. That's what I realized. I realized I was so invested, and I'm invested in just helping, serving, providing, making people the best version of themselves. That's when I started to back myself. Podcasting was another one. When I started podcasting, I didn't care if I had one listener or thousands of listeners. I was just like, who cares? I'm going to make mistakes, and that's okay. And I'm going to drop some gems as well. That's okay. I'm happy with that. Question 8. What's one thing you did recently where you acted despite fear or judgment, and what happened? Don't know. Maybe recently I went on the Problematic podcast. I did it actually on the weekend. I'm just thinking the most recent thing I did. It wasn't really a judgment thing. It was more of a fear of myself going, oh gosh, these guys are like comedians. They're funny. I'm not a comedian. They're going to ask me inappropriate questions. How do I answer that? Do I want to answer that? And maybe there's an internal aspect of myself that, we have past experiences that we've all done things we're not, overly, not in a negative way, but just being young and dumb, if you know what I mean. If that's nights out, if that's, partners, dating, all of that things, if it's sports. So I thought, what could I do here to, jump on this podcast, and they're going to ask me these type of questions. And driving there, I was just like, be yourself. All you got to do is be yourself. And it was literally like the answer to myself. And that was all I needed to hear, was just be yourself. And if they are not happy with that, then that's okay. That's okay. And it was an amazing episode because I was just being myself, and I was just being true to myself, having a laugh, being me. And it was a really good episode. So I highly recommend, if you are listening to this, check out the Problematic podcast when it comes out. I'm not sure when, but it was just being myself. And the outcome of that, when I look at the question, what happened? That's the end of the question. Is I had a really good time. I enjoyed the moment. Instead of being in my head, I was in my body. When I'm in my body, you won't stop me. When I'm in my head, I'm my biggest problem, like everyone out there. Question 9. How do you shift from external validation to internal alignment and purpose? That's a good one. So I'm a big fan, and it's nice sometimes to be complimented. It's nice to be validated. It's not nice sometimes. All the time it's nice. But I think when you've done the work, when I mean the work yourself, is really doing the basics really well. If that's your routine, if that's your habits, if that's the journaling, if that's doing things out of your comfort zone, if that's going for runs, if that's sea dipping, if that's training, if that's going to networking events, if that's studying, if that's checking in with a mentor, whatever it is. And then this internal confidence you're getting, this internal validation from yourself you're getting, then after that, people are noticing the shift in you. Hey, Ollie's just got this buzz about him now. He's got this energy about him. He seems different. And they notice that, and they start to say, you got a better smile right now, or you seem different, you seem more upbeat, you seem more positive. Then that's amazing. That's an amazing thing. And I think everyone should experience that. But when you are in alignment with who you are and where you're going, and it's like someone's lit a fire up your ass. It's the best feeling ever when you start living within your purpose. When you start living in an area where you feel like you have this sense of calling, or you have this sense of, this gives me this type of reward, or this type, I help people and it makes people feel this way, and it's transformed people's lives the way I experience it. And you might get that in woodwork. You might get that as a builder when you finish a project and you see this amazing house you've done, or this renovation, and you give that to someone. Or you might be, a nurse that helps someone, or you've just saved someone's life. That feeling you're getting is you living within your purpose. When it lights you up inside, and you just feel so proud and content of the experience, the moment, and you're being you. That's when everything aligns. You're not worried about yesterday. You're not worried about the future. You are in the moment. That's powerful. Question 10. What daily mindset practice or self-talk keeps you in your lane instead of shrinking back? I find it really good for me is waking up, going to the gym, coming home, journaling, and I just have this moment of, it's called priming. It's called priming, essentially, where you sit there for 30 seconds to a minute and you just think about a time in the past where you felt extremely happy. Maybe it was an achievement, maybe it was an experience, whatever it is. And this could be for you listeners right now. It's just sitting there and thinking about a time where you were really, really happy or excited, and whatever it was. And then just closing your eyes for 30 seconds to a minute and sitting there and listening to, reliving that experience. Where was you? What were you doing? Who was you with? Were you on your own? And you'll feel that emotion again. And then you just hold that experience for a minute, 30 seconds to a minute. And then after that, then I just want you to think about someone you're really grateful for. Maybe it's your family members. Maybe it's you. Whatever it is, something you're really grateful for, someone in your life. So the next thing you know, you've done 30 seconds to a minute of that. You've done 30 seconds to a minute of that. You've done 2 minutes of priming to start your day. You've already shifted your mind from a negative state to a positive state, and your day has already started. And then for me, I believe is having the group programs, my inner circle, my alpha reset programs, my mindset coaching programs, where you're in a group of people who want it, or just chasing it, who want the best for each other and for themselves. Well, as soon as you read that message, as soon as you get involved in that area, you're like, wow, I'm already in another positive state. And I've been to the gym as well. So I've done 3 amazing things this morning before my day's even started. And then I've got a clear goal on what I got to get done today, which is aligned with my trajectory of what I want to do in my business or my personal life. I've already won the day at 6, 7, 8 in the morning. Not many people can say that. But yeah, that's the one. So for yourself, if you are someone out there that doubts himself, don't be the person that gives the best advice to everyone else, but does nothing themselves. That is the quickest way to put yourself last and make excuses up. And once you start making excuses up of why now isn't a good time because I'm busy with this, or I can't do this now because this is cropped up, you will forever put yourself last and never do the things you truly want to do. Back yourself. Really give this opportunity of yours, this thing that you want to do, give it a go. Back yourself. You've got nothing to lose and so much more to gain. And I'm telling you right now, once you start doing this, you will go into an area of your life you've never experienced, or with people you've never felt this emotion with, people you've never connected with, and you didn't realize that this is possible, because that's when you are thriving instead of surviving. Right, guys, have a great day. Let's get after it. Take care.